A retired teacher hits more than $100,000 lottery with his kids' birthday numbers. I thought this would be a kind of cool thing to talk about because one, that's extremely lucky. Two, it's kind of cool that you won using your kids' birthday numbers, right? Because that means you constantly think of your kid. I think that's pretty awesome. So let's check this out. So, retired teacher won a $110,000 lottery jackpot after using a combination of his children's birthdays as his winning numbers. Lewis Payne Jr., 77, said he was flabbergasted to take home the prize after buying a Cash 5 drawing in North Carolina on February 1st. Of course, I didn't believe it, he told the North Carolina Education Lottery. Lewis spent 40 years as an educator and said that he enjoyed playing the lottery as it raises money for local schools. Giving back to education is very important, he said. It's the greatest thing we have in our country. So, sharing the winnings. Lewis said that he wanted to invest some of his winnings, which came to $78,122 after required state and federal tax withholdings. Which, by the way, right? This is $78,122 you did not have before winning this lottery. So just keep that in mind. He added that he would share the rest of the cash out with his family. It's unclear if he always played using his kids' birthdays or if he always used different combination. Lewis' success comes after another North Carolina lottery winner took home $264,419 after using the same numbers for 16 years. Lola Allen also won with a $1 Cash 5 ticket. She told lotto officials there that she was numb with shock when she discovered her numbers had been drawn. So the favorite numbers. Lola, also a retired teacher, said, "From the very beginning, I've been using the same numbers. They're my favorite numbers, so I stuck with them. When they all fell into place, I was in shock. I was numb." And The Sun reported last month on the Army vet who won $4 million on the lottery after he used the numbers from a fortune cookie. Now, personally, if I were to ever play the lottery, I'd probably do something like that just for the fun of it. Gabriel Fierro, 60, bought the sweet treat while he was dining with his wife at the Red Bull Asian Bistro in Charlotte, North Carolina. Fierro received an email that he had won, which left him dumbfounded, and his wife thought it was a scam or April Fool's joke. And one scratch card player in Maryland scooped the jackpot prize for the third time in 3 years and bought all the winning tickets from the same shop. Now that is extremely lucky. Like extremely lucky when you really think about it. Now, here's the thing. For the retired teacher who won well, the $78,000 and $78,122 right after everything's said and done. I'd like his plans for it, right? Now here's the main thing. If he has any debt, he needs to pay that off first and foremost, right? Because once he does that, that frees him up to literally have immense freedom to do whatever he wants with the money, right? So, for example, if he still has a mortgage on his house, and let's say it's like 50 grand, pay it off right then and there, right? Because that means you got no more payments on your house, right? Which means you have like $28,000 left over, which you can split upon your family in any way that you want to, right? Like it doesn't matter at that point, right? Like that's the main thing that I really want to like cover on this is like anytime you get this sort of money, right? Where like you were not expecting like a windfall, use this large sum of money, of course after taxes, to pay off any and all debt that you have, right? As much as you possibly can. Because the quicker you pay off all of your debt, the more freedom you have to put money towards anything you want, not just towards investments for your future, not just to like a really hefty emergency fund so that you don't have really any stress at all in your day-to-day life, but also maybe a brand new car that you want, right? Maybe a car for a family that is struggling that you personally know and you want to be able to help them and just gift them a car, right? Like a $5,000 car or something, right? Maybe you want to be able to fund your kids' college or your grandkids' college. Maybe you want to be able to buy presents, like Christmas presents, for everybody that goes to your church if you go to church every single Christmas, right? Like maybe you want to go and do something like that. Maybe you want to be very generous. Maybe you just have certain goals in life. Maybe you want to travel the world, right? And you could do all that, but first you got to pay off your debt, right? And the reason why you want to do that first is because once you pay off your debt, even if you were to screw up and like burn through all the money left over, you're still at the very least not negative, right? So, for example, for the person that won the $78,122, right? Let's say that he has, a debt, whatever it might be, of $50,000, right? Well, he could toss $50,000 to completely pay off that debt and literally just blow $28,122 completely and still be in a better position than when he was before winning this lottery, right? But the real problem is that a lot of people who end up winning these big lottery winnings tend to spend all the money, not realizing, like, hey, wait a minute, you still got taxes to pay, or they spend even more money than what was the original sticker winning amount, right? So you end up having people that have like no understanding of managing money end up winning a large amount of money, potentially, where like they win like $5 million, but they never made more than $20,000 after taxes per year. They're not going to manage that money correctly because they've never been exposed to not living paycheck to paycheck or in poverty, right? And so they could really end up screwing up everything. They could end up spending six, eight, $10 million in like a 5 year time span. So they're in debt for $5 million. They won a $5 million lottery, but in reality they only got like 4 million, 3.5 million after taxes, expenses, all that kind of stuff. So you're basically just completely screwed. It's the same type of situation that pro athletes end up getting into, where they had no money, and then all of a sudden they get this massive paycheck, this massive contract that they sign, and they're thinking like, oh, this is going to last forever. This is going to last me for years and years and years. This is going to last me for decades. But the reality is, for the majority of people who win lotteries, a lot of them go broke, regardless of the size. And the higher the amount, the more likelihood that they are actually going to lose all their money. So, one thing also, don't quit your job. This isn't that big of enough winnings to like quit your job. Although technically this person is a retired teacher, so hopefully when they say retired, I really do hope that he's actually retired, right? Because there's some people who are retired that are still working, so hopefully he's actually fully retired. And if he's not, hopefully this actually gets him to the point to be fully retired. If you want to learn how to get out of debt, go to 40inbucks.com. By the way, if you stumble upon this, and if you won $78,122 after taxes, what would you do with that money?